The global logistics engine, I mean, it really just runs on speed.
It absolutely does.
We all demand faster deliveries, next-day shipping.
Sometimes even same day. The pressure is immense.
And that pressure for velocity, which is only increasing, has created this unavoidable tension in the trucking industry.
Right.
How do you balance that commercial demand with, basic human capability?
It's the ultimate trade-off in the supply chain.
Because the result is longer working hours for drivers, which translates directly into these critical and often deadly safety concerns.
And driver fatigue is the exact point where those human limits meet economic pressure. This isn't just an inconvenience, it's a systemic, massive risk.
Right.
Fatigue is a primary cause of major accidents. It creates compounding delays across the whole network, and it drives huge inefficiencies. It puts both the drivers and the public at enormous risk every single day.
And for years, companies have relied on just one key measure to manage this risk. The legal hours of service rules, or HOS.
The HOS, yeah.
They're designed as these hard limits on how long a driver can legally be behind the wheel. But as you're suggesting, the HOS guidelines, they feel fundamentally insufficient for modern logistics.
They are. They really are. The HOS is a legal floor. It's not a robust safety strategy. It's a true one-size-fits-all solution.
And that just doesn't work.
It doesn't. It just can't account for all the complex individual factors that differentiate an alert driver from a critically fatigued one. I mean, think about it. HOS assumes every single driver is perfectly rested and operating under optimal conditions at the start of their shift.
Which is biologically inaccurate.
Totally.
If a driver had 2 kids up all night, or maybe they have an undiagnosed sleep issue.
Or they're driving through a terrible blizzard in the middle of the night.
The HOS clock just ticks on, completely regardless.
Exactly. It's an antiquated approach for a high-stakes, modern industry where human error can have catastrophic costs. The industry needed a solution that understood the individual driver's state, not just their, elapsed work hours.
So a mission of this deep dive is to explore how AI is fundamentally fixing this gap. We're going to look at how logistics companies are moving beyond simple time logs.
And using these sophisticated predictive models that can forecast individual fatigue levels.
And in real time.
In real time. We're moving the entire conversation from a reactive system, responding after a time limit is hit, or worse, after a crash, to a highly personalized predictive safety system that adjusts constantly.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with the sheer scale of the problem these tools are meant to solve. To really appreciate why we need these complex AI tools, you have to grasp the magnitude of the existing drowsy driving problem. These numbers, especially here in the US, they're just staggering.
They're sobering, for sure. And the reality is that the official statistics, they probably understate the true impact because it's so hard to definitively prove fatigue after an accident.
Right.
But our sources highlight data from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, which estimates that drowsy driving accounts for nearly 100,000 crashes annually in the United States.
100,000.
And that's a conservative estimate.
100,000 crashes a year? I mean, that leads to thousands of injuries and fatalities. That statistic alone should be enough to mandate change. But the consequences, they stretch far beyond just the direct human toll on our roads.
Absolutely. For the trucking and logistics industry itself, fatigue creates this corrosive negative feedback loop that really impacts the bottom line.
How so?
Well, when drivers are running on fumes, their cognitive abilities decline. That leads to reduced efficiency, slower load times, operational errors.
All of which just tank overall productivity.
Exactly.
And there's a huge personnel cost involved too, isn't there?
Massive. When drivers feel pressured to work these long, unsafe hours just to meet a fixed schedule, job dissatisfaction skyrockets. This directly contributes to high turnover rates, which is one of the single biggest costs for any fleet.
Recruiting, training, retaining good drivers, it's expensive.
Very expensive. The whole fleet's performance suffers when safety and driver well-being aren't truly prioritized beyond just, meeting a legal minimum.
So if the HOS guidelines are insufficient, because they treat every driver as basically interchangeable.
Which they do.
What specifically is this new technology measuring that the old system just misses? How do these AI-powered fatigue models actually work?
That's the critical jump. They aren't just reading a clock or a logbook. They are running these complex, data-driven algorithms to predict, moment to moment, when an individual driver is likely to hit that dangerous fatigue wall.
Okay.
The power comes from synthesizing a huge volume of real-time data from all these different sources. They look at 4 distinct critical pillars of information at the same time.
Walk us through those 4 pillars. This is the heart of that personalization we've been talking about.
Okay, so the first pillar is driver behavior data. This is collected through telematics that are already embedded in most modern trucks.
So it's tech that's already there.
For the most part, yes. The AI tracks actual on-road performance, looking for these micro-indicators. Subtle fluctuations in speed, sudden braking compared to their normal patterns, or small, frequent lane deviations.
So the system is looking for those little micro corrections you unconsciously make when you start getting tired. The signs that you're drifting just a bit.
Exactly. These behavioral changes are often the earliest, most reliable signs of fatigue. Slower reaction times that the driver might not even notice consciously, but the algorithm catches it instantly.
That brings us to the second pillar, physiological data. Now, this is where it gets highly personal. How are companies getting things like heart rate and body temperature?
That's a crucial question. The technology is maturing very fast. The data is gathered through specialized wearables, could be a wrist device, could be sensors in the seat or steering wheel.
And these are designed for an industrial setting, not just a consumer watch.
Right. They're built for accuracy in a commercial environment. They give an objective, immediate insight into the driver's physical state. They track heart rate variability, which is a key indicator of stress, body temperature, and some advanced systems even track eye movement and blink rates.
Wow. So the system has their on-road performance and their objective biological status.
Yeah.
What about outside influences? The environment has to play a huge role.
A huge role, and that's the third pillar, environmental factors. Fatigue isn't just internal, it's highly contextual. The models incorporate external conditions that intensify risk.
Like what?
This includes the road type of winding mountain road versus a straight interstate current, traffic congestion, weather, and critically, time of day.
Time of day. That ties into our circadian rhythms, right?
Precisely. We all know that driving at 3 a.m. is inherently more risky than driving at 3 p.m., even with the same amount of sleep. The AI factors in this biological reality. It knows the human body has these natural dips in alertness that you just can't overcome with willpower.
Okay, so you have behavior, physiology, environment. And finally, you need to know what they've been doing the last few days to really personalize the risk.
That's the fourth and final pillar, historical data. The AI considers a driver's recent history, their prior shifts, total hours worked in the last week, even reported sleep quality.
This is how it calculates what you could call fatigue debt.
That's a great way to put it. For example, if a driver had worked 4 long shifts in a row with minimal rest, the model carries that fatigue debt forward.
So if that same driver starts a new shift and the AI notices, say, erratic driving,
From the behavioral data.
combined with a high heart rate spike from the physiological data, and they're hitting that 3 a.m. circadian dip,
From the environmental data.
that specific confluence of events is where the prediction becomes instantaneous.
Absolutely. The synthesis of these 4 streams is what allows the magic to happen. The AI assigns a dynamic, real-time risk score. And it's not just flagging a risk, it's using that score to dynamically create a safer work plan.
So it's proactive.
Totally proactive, recommending immediate breaks, reducing the remaining drive time, or even telling dispatch to find a safe layover spot. It's dynamic, personalized safety planning.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Once you implement this technology and get that dynamic scheduling, the benefits must just cascade through the whole organization. This isn't just about compliance anymore. It's a massive operational upgrade.
It truly is. It's like a 5-fold improvement touching safety, efficiency, and personnel all at once. The first and most significant benefit, of course, is enhanced driver safety.
That's the big one.
It is. By predicting and preempting when a driver is at risk, the system prevents accidents. It saves lives and protects the public. End of story.
And it enables that personalized attention that the old rigid HOS structure just couldn't provide.
That's the second benefit, personalized scheduling. It moves rest periods away from those fixed arbitrary rules. Breaks are tailored specifically to the individual driver's fatigue profile.
Which means the brakes are actually more effective.
Far more effective. You get fewer unnecessary stops and more restorative rest when it's actually needed.
And when you have well-rested drivers, productivity naturally follows. That's the bottom line argument.
And that's the third benefit, increased productivity. Alert, focused drivers perform better. They're less prone to the minor errors that cause delays. By minimizing fatigue, the AI ensures drivers meet deadlines more reliably without ever compromising safety.
And crucially, This has to foster a much healthier work environment for the people doing this incredibly demanding job.
Absolutely. Which leads right into the fourth benefit, reduced turnover and better well-being. The trucking industry has a huge, persistent turnover problem.
It's notorious for it.
Right, and it's often fueled by long hours and the feeling that safety isn't the top priority. When companies use tech to proactively care for driver health, it dramatically improves satisfaction and, crucially, retention. It signals a real shift in safety culture.
Okay, finally, let's talk hard financials, the pure cost savings.
The fifth benefit is substantial cost savings, and it's multifaceted. The primary savings come from accident avoidance. Fewer accidents mean lower insurance premiums, reduced repair costs, less liability.
That alone is huge.
It is. But on top of that, the optimized scheduling improves fleet utilization and reduces the administrative costs of HOS compliance audits. It's a complete risk mitigation strategy.
So if a logistics company sees these fivefold benefits and wants to adopt this, what does that implementation path look like? It sounds like a pretty significant infrastructure commitment.
It is.
And frankly, it requires a real leap of faith from the drivers themselves.
It absolutely requires both. The first step is the infrastructural integration. You need to deploy the data collection devices, the telematics, the apps, the wearables, and then link all of that real-time data to a centralized AI platform.
But the tech alone isn't enough. You mentioned driver buy-in. I can just imagine drivers being skeptical of being constantly monitored, thinking this is just another way to police them.
And that's the second critical step, driver buy-in and training. Companies have to be absolutely transparent about how this data is being used.
It can't feel like Big Brother.
Exactly. It has to be framed as a tool for safety and fatigue mitigation, not as a disciplinary tool. Drivers need to be trained and to understand that accurate data reporting is vital for improving their personal safety. Building trust is non-negotiable.
And I assume, like any advanced AI, it needs to keep learning to stay sharp.
Precisely. The systems have to be continually refined with feedback loops. As the AI gathers more and more data, it starts to spot more nuanced patterns and improve its predictions. This ensures the fatigue management stays adaptive and responsive to what's actually happening on the road.
Looking ahead, this feels like a foundational shift, not just a temporary fix. What's the long-term vision here for the future of fleet management, especially with the march toward automation?
This fatigue prediction capability is really just one piece of a much broader trend where AI is transforming how logistics companies manage everything.
Their people, their vehicles, their operations.
All of it. The future suggests we'll see systems that integrate fatigue prediction with dynamic vehicle capability.
And this is where the human-AI integration gets fascinating. How does this play into the bridge toward full autonomy?
It serves as a vital safety bridge, making semi-autonomy safer. Our sources note that the future may see AI not just predicting fatigue, but also managing the vehicle's operations in response.
So what does that mean?
It means the potential for the onboard system to initiate an autonomous takeover of driving tasks when a human driver shows definitive, critical signs of fatigue.
You mean the truck could safely pull itself over or take a predetermined exit to a rest area?
Exactly. The AI spots the fatigue, the system issues a warning, and if the driver can't respond, the autonomous system initiates a safety sequence slowing down and safely piloting the truck to the nearest secure rest stop until the driver is recovered.
That's the practical integration point.
It is. It allows for incremental automation without requiring full, widespread driverless tech immediately.
That integration bridging human frailty with artificial capability is just a groundbreaking advancement in human resources and safety management within the industry. So to summarize, AI models are now leveraging this comprehensive behavioral, environmental, and physiological data to move beyond rigid schedules.
And achieving personalized, safe, and incredibly efficient results.
So what does this all mean for you?
It means the enormous fleets that keep our global supply chain moving are quickly transitioning to safer, more resilient, and ultimately more sustainable transportation networks. This proactive strategy is removing one of the largest public safety risks from our highways.
But as we've noted, the success of these systems hinges entirely on the continuous collection and accurate reporting of highly sensitive physiological data from wearables. If continuous learning and better predictions require more and more personal data monitoring, heart rates, sleep patterns, stress responses, how will the trucking industry manage the essential tension between ensuring individual driver privacy and achieving the goal of maximum fleet safety? That's the ethical and practical question you have to mull over as this personalized safety technology rolls out.